So let us talk about the suffering of purgatory. Why is it a place of suffering? So first of all, one of the most important things is this. Has anyone here been on a retreat, which is like a powerful experience, especially a prolonged one, like for a few days? So was it awesome? But was it difficult too? Was there a moment in that retreat in which you had an examination of conscience and you realized that you were living your life in such a way that there needed to be major changes done? And perhaps not only that weekend of the retreat, but for some time after, as you were going through maybe the first days of your conversion experience, or reconversion, or we can always be that. It's throughout our lives. We should always, it's every day should be a conversion experience, and as we are transforming and becoming holier, we're going to go through phases like that. Well, it is difficult, right? Because at that moment, what happens? All of a sudden, the Holy Spirit is shining in our conscience and in our hearts in such a way that we begin to notice all of the ways that we have been blinded or numb to different realities in our midst, blinded to our own perhaps behaviors, numb to those around us that maybe we have been ignoring or not seeing with love, just blinded in the love of Christ in our life. And it is a difficult thing to come to, right? So imagine if that is something that we go through here. Now, when we die, that is, of course, one of the biggest difficulties of all of the soul in purgatory. That now it is truly the light of Christ that is shining on them, the light of the Holy Spirit, as powerful as it gets, and the souls are able to see everything that happened in their life, and it's going to be difficult. So let's go through what happens in that sense, using the example of the retreat. First of all, there has to be a purification. Because let's face it, we get attached to tons of things in this world that have nothing to do with heaven. We are all tempted, as St. Thomas Aquinas reminds us, to either worship the gods, the gods of money or pleasure or power or honor. And it doesn't matter what our stance in life is. It doesn't matter if it can be a kindergartner or it can be a lady at the nursing home, but they can still fall being trapped of they want to be the most powerful or the most honored in their little setting. The point is that area of our ego, of our fallen self, is always there. And so when we have spent a lifetime in such a way in which we have let our souls not be 100% pure and shining, but instead filled with all of the consequences of these things, of course there has to be a purification of the consequences. So that is the number one suffering. There are three sufferings that we're going to talk about. The number one suffering of purgatory is the purification of the consequences of what has been attached to our souls. One of the best ways I think that we can see it is how Father Robert Barron explains it, describes it, and illustrates it in Catholicism that maybe many of you have seen. I think it's a perfect way to see it. This is how he says it. If you take this millionaire, very powerful guy from Manhattan that has this lifestyle, living in this penthouse, going to the fanciest restaurants in the city, having this social life of that, and dating supermodel, the whole thing that we pictured, the key to happiness that the world teaches you. If you take that guy, and all of a sudden he is asked to spend, and he goes for 3 months to Calcutta in India to spend with the missionaries of charity for 3 months. When he gets there, and all of a sudden he is there in this little cell, sleeping on a tiny mattress on the floor, and waking up every morning at 5 in the morning to pray, and then to eat very simple foods, and to start working the whole day in these hospitals, tending the poorest of the poor, with all the suffering that goes on, and the smells and the everything that he will see. At first, that guy is going to have a lot of difficulties. He's going to be there, and he's going to be missing his beautiful place with his comfortable bed, with the view of New York, and with his delicious meals, and with his everything that he's used to and attached to in this world. But what's going to happen? That guy, for the first time in his life perhaps, is going to enter a place in which it's going to be difficult for him, and it's going to take a lot of suffering. But for the first time, he's going to be in this place of pure love. And for the first time in his life, he is going to be in a place in which he is going to be truly practicing love every moment of his life. So, in a way, the difficulty is there because he has to be purified from all the attachments. But what happens? As the days go by, he is less and less attached to all of the trappings of his lifestyle, and more filled with the love of God that he is being filled with by being in this holy place, and by being in this place in which he himself is finally practicing love. And after the 3 months are over, he will be another person. And he will have lost a lot of his attachments, and he probably will not go home the same guy. And now he has love in his soul. Well, if you take that example and multiply it by infinity, like by already at the realm of the next life of eternity, that is one of the sufferings of purgatory. Because in purgatory, we're going to get there, and we're going to be there attached with different things. And we're going to go and we're going to see all the ways in which we have been so silly in a way to be attached to so many things of this world, and we're going to go through all this. But what's purifying us is the pure love of God, because in purgatory we are filled with the pure love of God. When you see all if you've ever seen images of have you seen images of the souls in purgatory? Sometimes it's pretty common in Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and you see Mary, and you see with the baby Jesus, and they're like giving them the scapular, and there's all these souls in fires, burning alive and everything. Well, it's you probably see it in Latin America. They're pretty common to see it in every church, and a lot of the times it's. Of course, our first thing, our first idea is, oh my God, we're gonna be burning alive. It sucks. God's gonna burn us for what we're doing. But that fire is not the fire of fire with our flesh burning. Although there are a few mystics at the church from medieval times that say that. But for the first few times in my life, when you have a choice to accept private revelation or not as a Catholic, I decide not to go there, because their descriptions, I'm like, did he partner with Hitler in deciding this? Because it doesn't make sense, the way he puts it. The fire that is there is the fire of the Holy Spirit. It is the fire of pure love that is burning away our attachments. And it is difficult, but it is beautiful. And every moment is more and more beautiful. But it is difficult in that sense.